Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel, and today I wanted to talk about the elusive and wily beast of inspiration. Okay, inspiration. It is a interesting topic because I feel like it's kind of straightforward, but it's also annoying. And it's annoying because the answer, even though I could just give it to you, you get inspiration from everywhere. Bam, boom, done. It's over. Now you know. It's also not that easy, right? Like, the answer's simple, the application is a little more messy. So, I wanted to kind of break it down a little bit and talk about it. When I was drawing this piece, I was thinking about inspiration because when I looked up the prompt for a weekly draw, it had the word creatures on it, and I immediately had the big picture in my head, which was my character Lola looking up at a large painting of creatures. Woohoo! Simple, easy. This is going to be knocked out real fast. What a load of bullcrap from me, because I had the broad strokes, but I didn't have the individual little pieces, right? These characters that I'm drawing right now. And as you watch this, some of them came out real fast, real easy. I knew exactly what I was doing. Other ones I struggled with and I played with, and I just had to keep attempting to solve. And I feel like that's a good summary of how inspiration is, meaning it can come to you, it can help guide you, but it's not just bam, it's there. Sometimes it is, but a lot of times it's these fiddly little bits that you're failing at repetitively until you like knock it out of the park, right? Or at least you're hoping you're knocking it out of the park, let's be real. So with the design for these creatures, some of them are coming from my past. So that little lettuce rabbit at the bottom, that is actually a mashup between a funny family story about the beautiful beast known as jackalopes and the Hilda creature, the deer fox. So that is a mashup of it. Or the caterpillar dude that's kind of shaggy. He is a mashup of the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland, but also from this really cool statue that I saw at a design convention. Like his long antennae that are kind of ear shaped, that's where those came from. Other things are an homage to artists that I like. So if you look at the very top, there are those little flying lettuces. Those are actually very much me giving a love shout out to an artist named Lorena Alvarez that I love. She did a comic called Nightlights, and it heavily influenced me to pursue comics at when I was working on my BFA project. So you'll notice that none of them come from anything or anywhere in particular. Rather, it's the collection of my life experiences that I have like brought together. I feel like a lot of times when people ask, where do you get your ideas from? This is coming from maybe one of two places. One of them, it's somebody who is wanting to go into the creative fields and who is genuinely wanting to understand how to approach art or things like that. Or it's people who are not in the creative fields. Okay, wait, I'm going to put this on pause for just a second because that term, the creative fields, has always been like weird for me because I feel that everything in life is pretty creative. I know some people are going to be like, oh, Rachel, you are just trying to give a group hug to everybody. But it's like, I mother freaking mean it. If you are designing like elegant equations in math, that is creativity, my friend. If you are designing, scientific methods or processes, that is creative AF. Like all of those things, when you are making something, you are being creative, whether it's you making up bullcrap answers to your kids who are asking you questions, and it's making you laugh and it's making other adults laugh because you know that you are misleading children, which, come on, that's always a good time. Or you are doing a recipe and you are combining elements together, spices and foods and all this stuff. Like, those are creative. You don't have to be drawing or dancing or singing to be a creative person, okay? End soapbox. All right, I'm going to take my soapbox over here. So, people who are looking into the creative fields being like, I don't know how you think like that. I don't know how you do that. First of all, I understand you. I understand, because I also, for the vast majority of my life, have not drawn in an imaginative capacity. I've always been creative, right? Like if a teacher gave a prompt or we were to design something, or I was wanting to make something, like, right, I'm pulling on my creative energy. Like, I am an idea person to a certain degree. But at the same time, like, in my head, it was these things that were being made in a vacuum, I think. Or I feel like a lot of people feel that way because arts are this mysterious, field of being, and only those interesting weirdos are the ones who are doing it, and it's just not true. It's really not true. I mean, all being creative is smashing up things together that are already in your noggin. So a big part of inspiration, I would say, is consume the crap out of stuff. I mean, watch those cartoons, watch those foreign films, watch those old movies, play those video games, read those comic books, read those picture books, read those novels, read biography, read history, look into other cultures. There's like so many things that you can pull from, look at how products are designed, look at how holidays are celebrated in other cultures. There's just a plethora of things that you can consume. And why is this important? Because you can't imagine anything that you haven't seen. That's I feel like I dropped a heavy bomb, but I just feel like nothing comes from nothing, and something comes from everything. So the more that you truly observe and notice and take in, so it's not you just like rushing through all of these things. It's sitting with things, it's noticing things, it's appreciating things, it's being present with things that you love. Like, it's gonna sit inside of you, even if you've forgotten it, or even if it goes to the back of your mind, it's still a part of you. And when you are thinking about things or wanting to design something, if it's relevant, your brain is going to pull that forward for you. So the more that you experience life and appreciate life, the more things, and you're curious about life too, right? You're really curious and you're investigating, the more things that you have to draw on. I also feel like creativity, while you can't like squeeze it out, like you can't force it, you can't be like, motherfucking get out of me. It also, you can't just sit by and be like, you know what, when inspiration hits me, man, that's when it hits me and it's good to go. Because to be honest with you, a lot of people who are in the creative industries, they actively pursue creativity, right? So I had my children's book class, and at the beginning of the class, my teacher would give us a 30-minute prompt. He'd give us a word or a phrase, and we would just have to draw for 30 minutes. And I think that that's a great exercise because it made me realize that it's a discipline being creative. The more you do it, the more you can do it, the more you question your thinking, the more you think in different ways. So when he would give a prompt, he would go around and ask people where their ideas came from. And something that I picked up and noticed, and he pointed out as well, was that the illustrations that really resonated with people or people thought were funny and things like that, they had a story, they had a purpose behind them. It wasn't just the first thing that popped into their head. Sometimes that works though, so I don't want you to discard that. But a lot of times it was like maybe the first thing that popped into your head was a good idea, but then if you thought about it and why, and you teased it out a little bit and you sat with it, you can make it even better, right? It's still your first idea, but you've been a little more deliberate with it. Sometimes your first idea is a throwaway and you just, maybe you need to draw it out or just acknowledge it and then move past it and keep thinking in weird ways. When I say that, I mean, have you guys ever had a conversation with somebody and they said a word that could be taken in two different ways, right? Like a lot of our words have multiple meanings, or there are multiple words that sound exactly alike. A lot of times when people say those things, I take the opposite, not the opposite, but like the alternative meaning, because to me it's funny, right? So thinking in a different way about things can also be super helpful for you. So yeah, creativity or inspiration is all about being willing to fail, to just fall on your face and experiment and try things out. As you've been watching this illustration, I'm sure that you've noticed that I've swapped colors, I've swapped designs for creatures, I have played around with things that then I've erased. I am a perfectionist, but creativity requires a level of ballsiness, I suppose you could say, to just live and let live. Let yourself make those mistakes and try those things out. It's not so bad, says the perfectionist. It's not so bad. So, summarizing what I've just said to you, creativity comes from like the culmination of who you are in your life experiences and the things that you love. It can't be forced, meaning when people like be creative, think creatively. I've read that this actually has the opposite effect, because I feel like people think when they hear the word be creative, be completely original and nobody else has ever seen anything like that, this or whatever, which smashing two things together, that can create something brand new that people haven't ever thought before. But it didn't come out of the air, right? Like it still has its roots in something. It was just a new way of looking at those objects. Okay? So don't feel like you have to be so original that nothing in this world has ever been seen like it. Maybe you do. Maybe you do design something like that. I also don't want to be like, that's impossible. But I mean, you understand what I'm saying. And at the same time, creativity is a deliberate act. It's seeking out things to try, right? I sought out a prompt given by somebody else to try to create an illustration. I think playing in sandboxes are wonderful. I think they're very helpful. A lot of times it's very hard to just make something unless something's inspired you. You've seen something that has sparked your imagination. You heard something that sparked your imagination. How is that any different than going to seek out something to spark your imagination? It's just a different approach, and I feel like people think that that's wrong or that's not allowed or something like that, but it totally is. So seek out things to inspire you, like I did with the prompt. So creativity is about just exploring and trying things out. So allow your inspiration to be open to all types of experiences and draw from all areas of your life. I hope that this conversation has helped out. Thank you.